Well, welcome everybody. My name is Steve Glazer. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees of the State Universities, and I'm honored to be the chair of this search committee. And let me give you a sense of the process this morning. We're going to take an opportunity for you to meet all the members of the committee, and so we'll go around the room and have everybody introduce themselves. I'm going to talk a little bit about the trustee policy in regard to presidential selection. We're going to hear from our consulting experts who are going to be advising our committee in the search process, and they'll go through the process and some of the information that's being put together to assist in that process. And then we're going to open it up for public comments from you so that we can hear your thoughts and perspectives about the process that we're going through and the qualities that you'd like to see in a new president. For that part of the proceedings, we have 2 microphones set on both sides of the room. And we'd like to invite you to go and stand behind either of the microphones. And as we go through the course of public speakers, we'll make sure you get the opportunity to share your thoughts with us. So that's the process that we have going forward. And then we're going to adjourn to a closed meeting of the committee to talk about some of the next steps going forward. All right, with that being said, why don't I start with Carlos on my right. We'll do the committee members and then we'll do the staff. Carlos, why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Carlos Nevares, faculty representative, faculty in educational leadership, College of Education.
Delane, let's just...
Good morning. My name is Delane Seren. I'm a faculty member in psychology, and I am the representative here from faculty.
Good morning. I'm Tom Cropper, president of Cal State University Maritime Academy.
Good morning. I'm Christine Lovely, vice president for human resources here at Sacramento State.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Pat Falkushita. I'm president and CEO of the California and Sacramento Asian Pacific Chamber of Commerce, and I'm a community member.
And my name is Reza Pegahi. I'm a faculty member in the University Library as well as chair of the Faculty Senate.
I'm Tim White, your chancellor.
Good morning, I'm Lauren Lombardo. I'm your Associated Students President here at Sacramento State.
Good morning, my name is Mary Shepard. I'm the Assistant Director of Academic Advising, and I oversee orientation. I'm the staff representative.
Good morning. My name is Margaret Fortune. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees, and I'm also a native of Sacramento, California.
Hello, everyone. I'm Cheryl Dell. I'm publisher and president of the Sacramento Bee and also a community representative.
Hi, I'm Pam Stewart. I chair the University Foundation Board here at Sac State.
And we have one other member who's going to be here today that hasn't arrived yet. We also are joined up at the dais here with our professional consultants and staff. And why don't we start with Lucy and Zach to introduce yourselves.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lucy Lesk. I'm a managing partner and director of the higher education search practice at Witt Kiefer.
Good morning. My name is Zach Smith, and I'm a consultant with Witt Kiefer.
Sure, I'm Lars Bolton. I'm Chief of Staff to Chancellor White.
I'm Lori Lamb. I'm the Vice Chancellor for Human Resources for the system.
There are 3 additional trustees that are members of this search committee that aren't present today. They'll have the opportunity to watch the tape and listen to all the comments.
The mic is not working.
Closer? I was saying that there are 3 additional trustees that are members of this search committee that aren't here today. They are Becky Eisen, Lupe Garcia, and Lou Monville, the chair of the board. They all had conflicts, but they are going to be given access to the tape. This is being streamed live, and it will be archived so they can go back and hear all the comments that we say and that you say during the public participation process. So the next thing I wanted to do was to review why we are here today, how this committee has been formulated. The trustees have a policy on the selection of presidents. That policy provides for a subcommittee of the board appointed by the chair of 4 trustees plus the chancellor to engage in that process until the end of the process. To assist that committee of trustees in the performance of their duties and underscoring the system's commitment to consultation, community involvement, and diversity, we ask the university community to designate representatives to join with us in this collaborative process that we were beginning today. And you've now met the wonderful representatives that the community constituencies have identified to take part in that with us. And I'm very pleased and excited to be joining with them in this very important process that we're beginning. I mentioned that we have some professionals involved in helping us. We have the firm of, get their formal name so I put it in the record, Witt Kiefer are the consultants that we've retained to assist in this. They have experience throughout the country in these types of important presidential searches. And you've met Zachary and Lucy earlier, and I invite them now to share their thoughts about the process going forward.
Certainly. Thank you very much. It's really a delight for us to be here. I have spent a bit of time in California, but our friend Zach is a former, he's a graduate of the UC system, correct?
Well, yes. I spent 7 years in the UC system, both at UC Irvine and UC Riverside.
Right. So we have some California roots on our team. I've been in executive search for 22 years and have supported almost 50 presidential or CEO searches. And so hopefully we'll be able to provide, with Zach, the two of us will be able to provide some very good advice to the committee. We work in partnership with the committee. The committee is the decision-making body in this project, in this opportunity. So just want to be very clear that it's their prerogative to choose the next set of candidates and to forward to the Board of Trustees. We look forward to helping enhance and build that pool, and also to welcoming any and all nominations for this position from you and your colleagues. And I'm sure that the search chair will explain more about how that's done later on. But we're looking very much forward to working with the committee. Thank you.
All right. Zach, anything to add to that?
No, I would just maybe emphasize that we do follow up on all nominations, so anybody who's interested in making a nomination can certainly do so. We have a search email address set up. It's sacstateprez@whitkiefer.com. So we encourage people to make nominations and recommendations, and also provide any feedback or input you'd like about the search to that email address.
Great. Let me also mention that if there are thoughts that you have about this process that you choose to not share with us this morning, there is also a way for you to share that feedback. We have an email address, a confidential email address that I'll mention now, and I can mention at the conclusion of the public session. It is presidentsearch@calstate.edu. So if you have thoughts on the process that you thought, in addition to whatever you may say or not say this morning, we welcome you to share that with us on that confidential email address. Okay, so now we're at the point in time that we've invited all you to be a part of our process, and that's to hear your thoughts about the qualities and attributes for the next president of Sacramento State. In order to allow everyone to speak, I wanted to ask you to try to keep your comments to a couple minutes. Please be cordial and respectful of those who are speaking. As I mentioned, today's session is being live streamed on the trustees' website and will be archived there as well. And as I mentioned earlier, if you have a thought that you didn't want to share this morning, there's opportunities for you to continue to share those thoughts with us. And as our search consultants have mentioned, we very much encourage nominations of outstanding leaders anywhere in the country or the world that you think might be the right fit here at Sacramento State. So if you have some thoughts to share with us, I invite you to come to one of the microphones and share your thoughts. And nobody wants to go first.
Okay, I'll be first to jump in the deep end of the pool here. My name's Tom Krabacker. I'm a faculty member in the geography department here. I'm also a member of the statewide academic senate, and I've been here for more than 2 decades. And I know that when you're looking for a president or candidates for president, you're going to be looking at a lot of their previous experience, a lot of their qualities that they hope to bring to the position, and perhaps their strategic thinking and whether that's in line with what the board and the CSU in general is looking for. But I would strongly urge you to look for another characteristic or quality in the president as well, and that is the willingness to learn the campus culture and to be very careful that they don't trample that when they move into the position of the presidency. True, a new president, and it's expected, will want to bring new ideas, new leadership, and perhaps make changes. But too often, in the case of administrative hires here, there have been examples of people who come in, really don't bother to learn much about the institution and the culture and the values of the campus beforehand or before taking action, and it leads to a lot of trouble and a lot of friction. And I think it's very important that as you interview or talk to the candidates, you try to assess their willingness to take this kind of approach.
Great, thank you very much for those wise words. Who would like to be next?
My name is Kim Harrington, and I work in the Office of Human Resources. And I would hope that you would include as part of the attributes someone who has a strong, who puts a strong emphasis on undergraduate education, that there is a true focus on moving our students through the process, that they are engaged in the learning, teaching and learning process. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Good morning, I'm Ed Mills. I'm the Interim Vice President for Student Affairs here. Thank you all for coming to the campus. And what I wanted to say is a little bit about our students. This is an amazing campus, and we have tremendous students at this campus. It's a campus that's steeped in access and provides tremendous access to higher education to this region. And we're sort of at a crossroads right now in looking at how we continue to provide that access, but at the same time be as efficient and as effective as we can in helping students to move through their degree programs at a slightly faster rate, at a more efficient rate. And sometimes those two things can be at odds with each other. And so, you know, my request of the committee is to really engage these candidates in thoughtful discussion about how we can continue to provide such an important access opportunity to our region and to California, while at the same time gathering their thoughts on how you can marry that in a successful way with helping to decrease time to graduation and increase the success of our students, decreasing also the cost that they incur or loans that they incur based on that time. So it's a strange sort of balance to try to strike, and it would be, I think, important to many of us that our new president is steeped in that knowledge and really willing to engage in that discussion.
Terrific. Thank you very much. Yes.
Good morning. I'm Lori Bachand, Associate Vice President for Advancement, Communications, and Stewardship. And thank you all for taking the time to come here this morning and be part of this process. It's so important to our campus. My question to you or hope is that you will seek evidence, not only tangible evidence in terms of qualitative, but also some storytelling about how your candidates have built relationships with their community, with their alumni, with their donors, and really taken the time to the point of one of our other speakers, get to know the culture of not only the campus but our community, and find out ways that they can become partners and continue to foster that relationship. As we are poised to do even more with our alumni and our fundraising goals, it's very important that a new president not only has that experience, but also has that will to be engaged and participate with our alumni community and donors. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Christina Armstrong, a Leadership Programs Coordinator from Student Organizations and Leadership. And I just hope that in the next presidential, the candidates that you're looking at, to piggyback off of something that was said earlier about focusing on, or an emphasis on undergraduate education, more specifically holistic education, so recognizing the importance of both the contributions of academic affairs as well as those of the student affairs as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good morning and welcome to all of the representatives this morning. My name is Pat Worley and I'm the Executive Director for our Associated Students and have comments in a couple of areas. Firstly, from a perspective of being on auxiliary status within the construct of the CSU, I think it's important. This is, the auxiliaries are unique in the higher education structure of the CSU. So I would like there to be some attention to an understanding and appreciation of the roles that auxiliaries play in our system. And then secondly, as a part of our student body auxiliary, one of the things that has been valued and really respected in our campus for a number of years is the role of students in shared governance. And again, the complexity of our student body entities, if you're looking at a worldwide or national level, our student bodies are exceptionally complex and do have probably a higher level of engagement oftentimes in our system. And so I think an attention to those particular characteristics would be helpful too. I see that, in fact, our ASI president is a member of your committee, and I'm sure she will speak to those issues also.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Other thoughts?
I'm Jim Prince. I'm the Vice Provost here at Sac State. And I'd like to encourage you to make sure that the presidential candidate has lots of experience with the academic side of the university. I know there have been some high-profile executives at other institutions that may have come from different parts of the university or even from outside academia. And I think it's really critical that our president understand the academic enterprise, preferably had been a faculty member his or herself, so that he or she understands the main purpose of the university and the daily work of the faculty and the students, and has a real appreciation for that and a willingness to move forward with faculty development and supporting faculty scholarly and creative activity and related topics. Also, I think I heard from one of the members of the committee that you were also entertaining questions about the search process, and I wanted to know if that's the case, because people may have some questions, particularly about the open versus closed nature of the search, and if that has been fully decided yet.
Good. Thank you very much for those questions. We'll respond to some of them at the end of the public process here. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Jennifer Barber. I'm the Executive Director of Alumni Relations and Annual Giving here at Sacramento State. Welcome to our campus. And what I wanted to re-emphasize is that we do have an extended Hornet family here at Sacramento State. In addition to the 29,000 students on campus that we all live to serve daily, we do have 220,000 alumni of our institution. And we, in advancement, alumni relations development, feel it's critical to the continued success of our university to keep those alumni engaged, not only in participating in events and mentoring students, but also in philanthropic means and donating back to our campus. So I look forward to finding the perfect president that is embracing alumni engagement and philanthropy.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning. Dave Toys, English Department. And I welcome you guys here and thank you for including us in the process. I'm hoping our next president will have a strong commitment to a vision built around a comprehensive university because this is a university that's about access. I don't think our students can choose among several different universities across the country or even across the state. So we have to be mindful of serving the needs, the intellectual and cultural needs of all our students, and supporting liberal arts, sciences, professional education. Sacramento State has to serve so many students and so many different needs, and I think it's really critical that we continue that commitment to being a comprehensive university. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Dave.
Hello, and I echo the others saying thank you for coming to our campus to discuss this with us. I'm Jana Noel, faculty from College of Education, and several speakers have already mentioned the need to have our new president be fully engaged with community. We consider ourselves here as an important partner in our region. I want to extend that to considering the possibility of being part of the K-16 pipeline in education. So it would be nice if our president would serve as a partner with the school districts, community colleges, because we all serve the same students once they get here. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet, for those thoughtful words. Other thoughts? Yes, come on up. Come on up. Good morning.
Hello, everybody. My name is Cherise Francis. I am a student here. I'm graduating in 16 days. I'm a student leader here on campus as well. I work with new student orientation, first year experience, student organization and leadership, the Honors GE program. And as a student leader, something that I personally really appreciate is the president and our administration's willingness to kind of come down to the student level and talk to us and ask us how we're feeling and what we want to see. And so in your search for the next candidate, I hope that you would take that into consideration and choose somebody who is willing to kind of step outside of the world of politics and the administration and kind of just come and talk to us, the students, and let us know what's going on and hear our voice. And so pretty simple.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations on your upcoming graduation. My nephew is in your class, did the 4.5-year program. So I'm excited for him, and I'm excited for you. And I've heard the same thing from him about the importance of the president connecting with the students in a lot of different ways. So thanks for coming up. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, I'm Justine Hart, the Associate Vice President for Financial Services here at Sac State, and also an alum with a couple of degrees from here. I want to kind of echo the culture comment that a president needs to look to the future, especially as we're presenting our master plan soon to the Board of Trustees, a new master plan, but also respect the past. So that there are significant events and functions that go on at the campus that shouldn't be erased, and some things that happen with the community for all the different colleges here on campus. And so the culture is important with looking to the future, but also respecting the past of our campus. In addition, I would also like the president to support and raise up our staff and understand that they are an important part of the student success, that they support financially, that's my area, but all the processes that happen on campus, from awarding the students their scholarship money and getting it to them quickly so they can get their books in time for that first day of class, and all of those things. So supporting the staff and realizing the part in the formula to student success. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Bill McCriss. I'm the Interim Director of Athletics here at Sacramento State, and also want to reach out and thank you for your attendance here and for the opportunity to speak to you about this position. I've had the pleasure of being here almost for 2 decades, and I can tell you the growth that's happened during that time has been really exciting to see and phenomenal. The people that are here are a pretty special bunch in terms of the faculty and staff, and we've had a pretty exciting growth spurt over the last decade, and it's been a great to be a part of it. So seeing that momentum continue would be something that I would encourage, and I know that we'll be part of this search. But having worked at another CSU prior to my arrival here, I've found that while every president needs to be part politician, it seems that here in the capital of California, there's probably a greater need for political savvy and political will than potentially at some of the other institutions within the system. So as you're taking a look at the broad list of items the next president's going to have, I'm sure our esteemed members of our campus committee that are on this committee can speak to this, but it seems that there's a little bit higher level or need for somebody with that political strength and will on our campus, probably more than some other ones. And again, I thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Great, Bill. Thank you very much for sharing your important thoughts. Other comments? Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Lakshmi Malrutu, Interim Assistant Vice President in Academic Affairs. And our campus here is very diverse, and you may have already experienced that. It's very culturally diverse as well as ethnically diverse. And I'm hoping our next president will not only be supportive of that diversity, but will enhance it, not only among students, but we would like to see that diversity in faculty, staff, as well as administrators. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. My name is Adriana Bolds. I'm the ASI Director of Undeclared Students. And with the campus this semester having enrolled 1,600 undeclared students, I would really hope for our next president to put an importance on an administrative support or background for these students. There's no office for undeclared students, and advising does their best to cover all of the undeclared students, to cover all students, and they do a great job. But I think that some support with an office and some administrators that are devoted to increasing the awareness of resources on campus and just making the transition from being undeclared to declared a lot easier, especially with the impaction issues here at Sac State. I feel like there should be a little bit more on the administrative side. So I'm hoping to see a president that would be able to devote some efforts into the addition of an office and positions, or just even supporting it in general. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Idra. Thank you very much. While we're waiting for someone to have a little bit more courage to come up to the microphone, I was thinking on the way here, I currently live in the Bay Area. I, by the way, graduated from San Diego State, but I grew up here in Sacramento, and I was trying to think of my earliest memory of when I came to the campus and first got a sense of this great university. And I wasn't really confident that my memory had it right, so before driving here this morning, I went into the Steve Glazer archives, and I found a document that proves that I was here in June of 1972. So that was 42 years ago. I want to see if anybody can beat that here on the panel in terms of touching the campus. It was such an iconic place for me growing up here in Sacramento. It was such an impressive place, and it certainly just even being on the campus created the aspirations and thinking about, could I ever come here? What would it mean? Everything looks so big. But it was a wonderful experience for me, and I know for so many others that live in this region and grew up in this region, how important and iconic this place is. So if you can beat 42 years being here on the campus, I'm looking forward to hearing that. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
You've inspired me to speak up, so thank you.
Do you want to check my certificate?
I might have one too. I'm a native here too, and a proud alum. I'm Tracy Newman. I'm the Associate Vice President for Development. And speaking to that, it's been really great watching Sac State flourish in the community through the years. And my perspective is I'd love to see the culture expand, this philanthropy, the culture of philanthropy in general. I hope the President will embrace that as we embark on several fundraising campaigns, but in general, somebody that will fall in love with our community and get engaged. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tracy.
Hello, my name is Stacy Hayano, and I'm the Associate Vice President for Budget Planning and Administration. I think the next president I'd like to see is someone who's really committed to transparency. I think our current president has done a very good job of having transparency of information on the financial and budget information. And I think that's important to let our campus constituents know what's going on with our money and how it's being spent. So I think that's really important. And the second thing I'd like to emphasize is I want to see our campus continue to be a destination campus. I don't want it to become stagnant. I want it to be a place where people yearn to go. And so I hope the next president will include that in this future.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Lisa Marie Medeiros. I'm an administrative staff on campus. I've been on campus for nearly 10 years. And one of the things that I would like to see maybe from a top-down approach is the emphasis on valuing and respecting staff on campus. I really feel that does have to come from the top down, that message has to be sent. And in addition to that, valuing the expertise of staff so that we can have operational effectiveness when we are trying to deliver products and services to students. Having been a CSU alum, I am also very invested in the CSU and the progress that it offers and the opportunities that it provides for the students. But if we cannot optimally implement our great ideas and find that expertise within our staff and our administrators and have this cross-divisional collaboration between IRT, student affairs, academic affairs, it really makes it difficult when we operate in silos. So maybe a president who can understand the need for operational, not just effectiveness, but innovation.
Terrific.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Phil Garcia. I'm Vice President for Public Affairs and Advocacy here at the university, and I've been here about a decade as well. Bill, the athletic director, he kind of stole my thunder, but we are California, the CSU campus in California's capital city. So I would just underscore the comments he made and the comments about Stacy about a president who is comfortable working, who's comfortable with accountability and transparency. And I would add to that the ability to tell the story about the great investment and the great return on investment in the CSU and specifically in our case, of course, in education here at Sacramento State. We're at a critical juncture. The decline in state funding for the CSU and, of course, what's been happening at our individual campuses. We're all familiar with the story. So that ability to tell our story is, I think, a critical one. And I think it's something that our current president has done very well. And as you engage candidates, I think that that's a priority as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. While we're waiting to see if anyone else wants to participate in the conversation, let me try to respond to an earlier question about the process. As our consultants have indicated that we're going to be advertising for the position in various ways through publications across the United States. We're interested in nominations from people here in the campus community where they know of someone or has a great reputation that they think would be a great leader. And we're going to provide a couple months for that process to go forward. So I don't know if we have a hard, firm date yet for when resumes or nominations need to be in. I'll turn to our team over there to see if is there a hard date that we have for that yet?
We don't typically set a hard date, but we do have a candidate review meeting in February when we'll be reviewing as a committee the candidates and applicants for the position. But we tend to recruit right up until that meeting, so we don't set a hard and fast deadline.
Okay, and that leads to the next part of our committee process is that we will get back together to review those resumes in February. And out of that, make choices about who should come in for an interview with the panel as it's assembled here today. And we expect that to happen sometime in the early part of March. And then out of that, there'll be recommendations made to the Board of Trustees. and then the board will arrange to have an interview with those finalists as a full board, and hopefully at that point in time make a selection. So that's the timeline in broad strokes for the process going forward. There was another question that was asked about the open-close part of the process, that there was a time in our past where the process was identified from the start as an open process, meaning that when finalists were selected, they were invited to come back to the campus to meet with the various campus constituencies. That policy was changed a few years ago, and it was left as something for the committee to talk about and to consider. Since that policy change occurred, and we've had more than a dozen presidential selections, in each of those cases, the committee recommended that the process not be an open process at the end, that they felt it would be a detriment to getting the highest quality applicants to go through the process in its entirety. So, but this is something that hasn't been decided here in Sacramento, and it's something that we'll talk about as a committee, and we'll see where the best minds lead us in that respect. But from the start, I think that it would be fair to say that it's more likely to be a closed process, and then we'll talk about it and see whether that direction changes from where I just indicated. So that's the course that we're on, and I have no further update to give you until later on in the process about that. All right. Is there anybody else who would like to share their thoughts with us this morning?
Good morning and welcome to our campus. My name is Vin Salas, Vice President for University Advancement, and I just want to underscore the comment around diversity. Of course, it would be terrific to have an advancement president who can ask, advocate, and be an ambassador for the campus as well as for the system, if appropriate. But my comments around diversity, we have a student community here that is very diverse. We are an API serving institution and have received one of a few federal funding for an NAPC grant. Over 20% of our student body are API. Over 25-26% of our student community are Latino. And we have an African American student population that is served by the Black Alumni Chapter, which is very vibrant here on campus. That chapter helps out in the recruitment as well as retention orientation of our African American students. So as you embark on the search, I would encourage you to be aware and to really be sensitive to what qualities this new president will bring that will reflect our community and be sensitive to issues of diversity on campus.
Thank you very much, Vince.
Good morning, I'm Maria Indriga. I am the chair of the Department of Psychology, and I'm one of those that's in the almost 2 decades cohort. I've also had the pleasure of serving on the President's Advisory Committee on the budget, and I really learned how important the purse strings are. So I would just probably say, once the President has followed Vince's directive to develop funds, I'd also like to echo the Vice Provost's request to have attention paid to the academic side, and I'll even be bolder to say providing resources for the academic side of the university. We are one of many impacted programs on the campus. Psychology serves 5,000 seats to students every semester, and we're doing that with 19 tenure-track faculty, and lately better budget for really talented part-time faculty and lecturers like Professor Serin. However, what's happened is now that we have, our tenure-track faculty are far outnumbered by our lecturer faculty. And so I know that asking for faculty hires tends to be a tired refrain, but repeated for a reason, because we're really not at the point where I consider our business practices in our department to be sustainable and at the quality that they can be. So I would urge resources to go into the classroom directly to tenure track hires. What I also see with my little boots on the ground in my department is I see that our faculty and our staff have made it through the Great Recession, tightening our belts, but I am concerned, and I would urge that the new president understand that doing more with less is not a new status quo, that we came through for our students and that we desperately need relief. I see our staff members, we have 2 full-time staff for, again, these 5,000 seats that we fill every semester, and I'm concerned about burnout. I also know that many of our staff are still considered temporary faculty, and I know in my department they're not able to pay their bills or even buy Christmas presents, and they live in this perpetual state of uncertainty about whether their positions are permanent. So, and we would not be able to function without our staff. So those are just some examples of why the resources for the academic side are very important. So thank you for hearing my comments, and thank you for the work that you do on the search.
Great, thank you very much. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for coming and being here and listening to us. My name is Lynn Korop. I am one of those couple decades been here. I'm a double alum. And being here for so long, a couple things that I would really like to see in the new president is someone who, reiterating, understands our culture, understands the faculty, understands the staff, and supports both. We're very faculty-centric, staff-centric, know that we are a whole body. We all love the students. We all want to do the best we can, and we need that support from the top so that we can do our job and do what's needed. I'd also really appreciate having a president that understands all the disciplines, not just whatever discipline this president comes from, but all that we offer. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, I want to say thank you to the students and the faculty and staff and community members who have come to share their thoughts with us. I think it's very helpful, I'm sure, to everybody on the panel. I heard a number of really insightful things this morning. I wanted to mention some of those that stuck out with me. I thought the comment that was made a couple different times about learning the campus culture is so important at so many different levels. We heard about the importance of the undergraduate education, that a candidate have a good sense of what that means, certainly as it relates to a comprehensive university, which is one of the great elements here at Sacramento State. We heard Ed talk about the challenge of dealing with access, as well as how that sometimes clashes with the issue of graduation time, which is important to everybody in the institution and in the student and their families. We heard from Gloria about how important it was for the candidates to build relationships. We heard about how valuable it is for a candidate to appreciate the student and academic affairs and how they work together, the need to understand auxiliary organizations, the importance of students in shared governance. Jim talked about it's important that a president understand the academic enterprise, particularly, and there's particular value if they were a faculty member. Jennifer mentioned the 220,000 alumni. Isn't that exciting to have such a wonderful alumni community? That's an incredible resource, I know, that needs to be tapped more, and that it'd be great if the president understood that and would be engaged in that important effort. Dave talked about the strong commitment to a comprehensive university. Janet talked about how important it was this is not a campus on an island, but it fits in with this comprehensive education system at every level, K through 12, the community colleges, and she's so right about that. And that we need a president who can connect to students at their level. We heard about the importance of the past, that a president come in and not just think that everything gets the big eraser, but that there is a past and there's reasons for it here at Sacramento State that have made this such a great institution that we all want to build from, but that historical legacy, that past accomplishment, there's a reasons for it, and we want a president who understands that. Bill talked about political savvy, certainly important as it relates to the special place Sacramento State has here in our state capital. I think that there's no argument about the feeling about the diversity here on the campus, both ethnically and culturally, and how important it is that a president embrace that, celebrate it, promote it at every level with staff and with faculty and with students. Edra talked about the dilemma of being an undeclared and how she hopes the president can have a sense of that and find resources on the campus that can touch her and the choices that people in her situation face. Tracy talked about the culture of philanthropy, and it's something that unfortunately campuses have had to pay a lot more attention to because of diminished returns that have come from the state and the taxpayers. Lisa talked about valuing and respecting staff. Phil mentioned how important it was that a president be able to tell the story of this great university internally and externally, and that's a great leadership quality. Vince talked about diversity. We heard about, I love is it Marriott? I may be pronouncing her name right, where she talked about resources on the academic side and said that more with less is not the new status quo. Boy, is that a great observation. Was that the governor? I hope he was hearing that. He's up there. And we heard from Lynn talking about the understanding the culture of the staff and the faculty and understanding all the disciplines here in the university. I think that I'm sure I can speak for the committee in saying that's a great collection of great insight and a high bar that we hope to set in the process that we're about to go forward with. Let me mention as we're closing here that we have been joined by Marco Rodriguez. There's Marco. Welcome to the committee. Marco, it's so nice to have you here. In fact, why don't we give you the opportunity to introduce yourself to everybody? That would be terrific. Welcome.
Sorry about that. I apologize. Civic duty, jury duty.
No problem at all. We gave the audience the opportunity to hear about who we were at the start, so I want to make sure that you could introduce yourself and the position that you hold on this committee.
I'll be brief. My name is Marco Rodriguez. I'm the president of the Alumni Association here in Sacramento, class of 91, Sacramento State School of Business.
Terrific. Well, thank you very much, Marco, for being a part of our committee process. And as I mentioned earlier, there are a number of trustees who weren't able to make it here today that we can share the tape of the proceedings and the conversation that we've had thus far. Before we close this session, I want to invite the Chancellor, Tim White, to share any thoughts or reflections he has. He's our great leader of the California State Universities, and there's a lot of great things happening both here in Sacramento at campuses across the state, and it's due to the engaged and wonderful seasoned leadership of Tim White. And Chancellor, we welcome you here and invite you to say anything you wish to say as we close this session.
Well, thank you, Steve, and we thank, again, the members of the advisory committee and obviously the search committee, but also those of you in the community. You know, I recognize that transitions of campus presidencies create an anxiety, not in a negative way, but sort of in a wonderment way, in a hopeful way, in an expectation way, and perhaps a little bit of the negative anxiety of, oh my gosh, who's going to be next, and is she going to be any good or not, right? And, the added piece of this is whoever is the next president is coming in after, by any account, a successful presidency. Academically, engagement with the community, fundraising, athletically, development of the campus physically, the list goes on, which will make it a very attractive position for somebody to come in to stand on the shoulders of Alex Gonzalez and those who preceded Alex in that role. But I want you to recognize that we understand that added sort of angst of the transition, and also to say now, and I'll have a chance to say again later, is once we select this new person, we all bear responsibility for him or her to become successful in Sacramento. And so we just don't turn them loose, but rather we take you're here because you're responsible members of this community. We'll be asking you to be responsible members and help introduce the new president to yourself and to your interests and to the interests that you represent. It's really a kind of a big community effort to make this transition work, and we've had great success on other campuses in my short 2 years here. The second thing for me to just comment on, I think, is a bit about, if you have ideas of people, even if you don't know them personally, but you admire somebody who is a sitting president somewhere else in the country or in the world, actually, or a senior leader or somebody in business or in politics, it doesn't, it's up to you to decide where you see somebody who's got leadership written all over her. Don't think, well, oh gosh, no, they're doing such a good job where they are now, they wouldn't possibly want to move. Let us figure that piece out. If you see a talent somewhere, don't worry about whether we can engage that talent or not. Just pass that talent's name along. If you know them personally and are willing to be involved in helping recruit them, let us know. But otherwise, it'll be without retribution, without attribution to you. And so you can nominate your best friends, hopefully not your enemies, for us to then reach out and say, you've been nominated by a member of the community and we'd like to talk with you. And you will be surprised how many people who we think are well established and would never move, when given an opportunity as terrific as Sacramento State University, will say, oh my gosh, I will move mountains to have an opportunity to provide leadership here. So I just really encourage that piece. And then on the comments, if there were things that needed to be said that this wasn't the right forum, I just redouble the effort here to make sure you write into the website that was announced earlier and is at our webpage. You'll never be, the attribution will never occur, but if there are criticisms, negative things, soft spots, worries that are out there, I think we really need, for us to do our job to represent your interests, we have to be the honest brokers. And if there's soft spots, we need to know that. So it's not criticism and being critical, but it's input allowing us to do the job better. Very, very important. But again, thank you for engaging today and with us it goes forward. It goes slow for a while, and then when we get to February, March, boy, it moves very, very quickly. And I guess the final thing I would say is if we are not satisfied with the pool, to me, the only failed searches at any level are when you appoint somebody who you don't have full confidence is capable to do the job. And we've not had that in any of the recent searches at all. We've placed some pretty amazing presidents in the last couple of years, if you've been paying attention to that. But I can assure you that this group and this Board of Trustees will find a bridging way if we are dissatisfied with the pool and continue at it till we get that magical one person. And I said that was the final thing, but I skipped over one other thing that was in my mind. Nobody here articulated specifically, but implied implicitly that diversity is much more on this campus than race and ethnicity and culture. It includes veterans, it includes the LGBT community, it includes economic spectrum, age spectrum, the list goes on. And I picked that up from my visits to this campus on other occasions and want to make sure that I'm reading, even though it was not articulated, that when we speak of the richness and powerfulness of having diversity on a university campus, that we mean it writ large. And that's the way, at least I will be taking it, unless you want to correct that for me. Thank you, Steve, for the opportunity to comment.
Thank you very much, Chancellor. As he mentioned, I mentioned earlier, if you have thoughts about the process or any other additional input you'd like to give confidentially, the email address is presidentsearch, that's all one word, presidentsearch@calstate.edu. So we welcome those in the coming weeks. Before we close, I want to just turn to my colleagues to see if there's any final thoughts anyone wishes to make before we adjourn to our closed session. All right, with that, thank you all for being a part of the process. being part of this wonderful community here in Sacramento. We look forward to working with you and delivering a great leader for this wonderful community and this wonderful institution.